SCP-2915 Object Class Euclid. Description: SCP-2915 is a Wendy's franchise restaurant located in Ohio. The establishment possesses two primary anomalous properties. 1. The menu at the time of containment did not align with normal Wendy's products, appropriate health standards, or typical terrestrial biochemistry. All salvageable foodstuffs were removed from the premises for controlled laboratory study. 2. The freezer does not possess a floor. The depth of the resulting shaft is unknown. Probing missions have proven inconclusive. 6 winch systems are attached to the ceiling of the freezer, each consisting of a chain and a large meat hook. These winches are controlled by a series of valves located at the door. 1 chain remains lowered into the shaft. Attempts to reach the bottom of the freezer shaft have been unsuccessful. The longest surviving probe broadcast for over 4 months before communication was lost. Adjusting the height of the chains has not been attempted beyond establishing the use of the valves. Yellow gas of currently indeterminate chemical makeup will leak from the freezer during nighttime hours, generally between 0200 and 0445. This gas is heavier than air, mildly toxic, and will dissipate under concentrated ultraviolet radiation. Note: long-term exposure will result in damage to the lungs and kidneys. Sounds might occasionally be heard emanating from within the freezer, and may include the banging within the shaft, the rattling of chains, the scraping of metal on the inside of the door, and distant echoes of "I've Got You Under My Skin" by Frank Sinatra. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-2915 is owned and operated by a Foundation agent as a typical Wendy's franchise, under supervision of MTF-PSI-25, trapped in the drive-thru. Personnel are to maintain all professional standards set forth by the Wendy's Corporation. Night shift guards are to be equipped with gas masks and broad-spectrum UV lights. The freezer is to remain padlocked. Employees are encouraged to ignore all sounds emanating from within. Additional data available.
Administrator clearance accepted.
Addendum 2915-1. A 45 by 30 by 30 cm metal cage containing 2 white mice was lowered into the freezer via a metal cable. After travelling approximately 2 miles down, the cable began shaking violently. The sound of frantic squeaking could be heard echoing from out of the freezer, consistent with the sound of the mice in a panicked state. The sound of chains can be heard scraping within the freezer. Staff are unable to see what is causing the sound. The cable is suddenly pulled taut, and the sound of a snap echoes up the freezer. The cable is withdrawn to reveal the cage gone and the bottom of the wire visibly distressed. The test is aborted, and the freezer lid is closed. Addendum 2915-2. D-89451 is dressed in an insulated Class D jumpsuit and harness. D-89451 is instructed to describe anything significant it can hear or see on their way down. D-89451 is lowered into the freezer and notes nothing of any importance, but complains often of the cold. After being lowered 4 miles down, D-89451 notes he can hear music and identifies it as "Killing Me Softly" by Frank Sinatra. He then identifies a crystallized yellow substance on the wall of the shaft. D-98451 is ordered to collect a sample and is then brought back up to analyse the substance. Addendum 2915-3. The following experiment took place at night while the freezer was spilling the poisonous yellow gas. All staff and security wore protective suits. D-76121 is dressed in an insulated Class D jumpsuit, gas mask, and harness, and is lowered into the freezer. D-76121's vision is considerably impaired by the gas and cannot see more than 30 centimeters in any direction, nor can the camera fixed to his shoulder. After reaching 5 miles down, D-76121 reports he can hear the sounds of Frank Sinatra "Killing Me Softly" and the sounds of chains steadily getting closer. D-76121 begins to panic, insisting the sound is getting closer and is coming from below, and asks to abort. Control witnesses a large mass on a thermal camera coming up the shaft, obscured by the smoke. D-76121's screams can be heard as the mass reaches his height. An emergency cease of experiment is ordered. Security personnel cut the cable holding 76121 and drop a thermite grenade into the freezer before closing the lid. D-76121 is KIA. Since this experiment, there has been little change in its regular pattern. The gas is still produced, and the sounds of chains and singing are still apparent. Note from 05-7. So long as the freezer remains closed and no one enters it, this SCP is of little threat. Continue regular containment procedures. Any further testing with SCP-2915 needs to be approved by 2 Level 4 researchers.